How's it going, everyone? It's Sam. There are some massive things happening right now. And this is not just a normal video. This is really the start of something new. This is the start of the bull run, in my opinion, or the next phase of the bull run, which gets way more fun. We have some numbers that are changing, some metrics that are changing drastically today, including M2 money supply pumping. We have the DXY falling drastically. We have a really good chart to pay attention to that shows us this is where things get exciting. And we have some other news as well after Jerome Powell spoke today. If you don't mind, hit subscribe. We're really close to 300,000 subscribers, just a bit of an arbitrary mark, but it is fun. You can also hit the bell notification so you can see right when I post future videos. Also, just a quick shout out. Cade O'Neill. I'll put his YouTube channel as the pinned comment along with a link to Margex. He just started a channel. This is someone that's a CPA. He's really bright. I've spent time with him in real life. He just started a channel and it's really good. I was just watching the video, Is Crypto Ready for a Flood of Liquidity? I think we need to get this guy up to some more subscribers. Literally just started his channel a couple weeks ago. Speaks about Jasmine a good amount, but also talks about Bitcoin and the broader market. Like, go give him some love if you don't mind. I don't think you're gonna regret it by any means. Really smart guy. Now, like I said, there will be a link to Margex underneath the video as well. We'll be talking about some altcoins later in the video. You want to have some account where you can leverage trade. At least I think that makes a lot of sense, because there will be moments where you see some big piece of news or we are hitting support where you might want to go long. Of course, this isn't right for everyone. Not everyone likes leverage trading, but this is a good way to amplify returns. But of course, only put in money that you're willing to lose, because this is riskier than just buying spot. But as you can see here, your returns can be much higher. So definitely check out the link underneath the video to Margex. Now, let's start here. Jerome Powell spoke today at Jackson Hole. We actually live streamed that whole speech. If you haven't seen it, go check it out on my channel. So far, the NASDAQ's up about 0.6%. It was up even more than that right when he was speaking. Now it's come down a little bit. Bitcoin also has come down a little bit from about 62.3, 62.4, which is prior resistance. Now we're sitting around 61.6. Let me be clear. Anything can happen in the next day, in the next week, in the next month. But what he said today, I think, is fundamentally bullish for the markets. Basically, he did not rule out a 50 basis point cut. And now we're even getting a higher chance. The percentage likelihood that we get 50 basis point cut at the next meeting has gone from 28% to 34% over a couple hours. He goes full dove. Now, some people are even a little bit concerned. I think that's where the market pumped and now it's coming down. Like, he did not rule out 50 basis points. And some people are worried, okay, well, how bad is this getting, right? And that's what we talked about before, too, that depending on how he frames things, people might be concerned that, yeah, we need to cut 50 basis points. But he said the cooling in labor market conditions is unmistakable. It seems unlikely that the labor market will be a source of elevated inflationary pressures anytime soon. We do not seek or welcome further cooling in labor market conditions. The time has come for policy to adjust. That much is clear. So that really changes a lot of things. One company that I've invested into for a long time, for the entire bear market, or for the last 2 years or something, is Vici Properties. This is a REIT. It went pretty much nowhere for a couple of years because rates continued to go up, which means that investors could get 5% from banks instead of 5% from a dividend. And now it's up. It's moving up about 20% in the last couple of weeks. See, that's a nice little return there, and it still pays a 5% dividend yield. But stocks that are very related to interest rates are doing quite well on this news, regardless. Now, some stocks, obviously, moving down on this news. Some people are a little bit worried that maybe the Fed's turning too quickly. That's also a concern for some people in the crypto market. But overall, I think this is extremely bullish news. And I've said why that's so bullish so many times on the channel. But again, if people can get a higher rate of return, just in a bank account or a CD, they're going to invest more money in those places. There's less risk, especially if there's fears of recession. But if it seems like we got away from a recession and there is no recession and you're getting now 2 or 3% instead of 5% on your money, then you start looking into other avenues. Real estate values go up. We have stocks going up. We have crypto, riskier assets moving up. Now, this is going to get really interesting, and we have more and more entities like coming into crypto. Russia is going to launch 2 crypto exchanges, and there's news that they're going to create a stablecoin, or that China is going to create a stablecoin to trade between them. We have really interesting things happening with global liquidity, DXY, Bitcoin dominance, all that kind of stuff, and I do think you have to change up your strategy a bit here. But first, I want to thank today's show sponsor. You know, on this channel, we talk a lot about how to invest your money, where to put your money. But what if you could invest your money into a business that generates you a monthly income? That's where today's show sponsor, Limit Express Company, comes in. They will completely manage a store on Amazon for you, selling products like Colgate toothpaste, Crest mouthwash, Dove soap, and many more products. In order for Limit Express to buy these products at extremely cheap pricing, they need to spend over $500,000 with their suppliers every month. That's why they have over 150 clients that send in the funding for the inventory. They pull that money together to place a big order for their supplier. They get really cheap pricing on all the inventory and sell them for a profit on your Amazon store. And they completely manage the inventory and sales. Of course, always do your own research, right? This is not a make free money card, but if you are interested in becoming a client or just learning more about earning an income on Amazon, you can use the link underneath the video to book a free 30-minute Zoom call directly with the owner, Kyle. Global liquidity, including India, is spiking. This is the highest point that we've ever seen. I'm talking about like even just in the last month, global liquidity has gone up about 2%. That is pretty crazy when you think about that. Like global liquidity moves slowly typically, but as you can see here, just spiking up, going from 87 back at the beginning of July to now 90.5. In the last 2 months, it's gone up about 4%. That's nuts. DXY is also falling. Take a look at this. DXY typically inversely correlated with crypto, and part of that might be more of a correlation than a causation. It might be because when DXY is pumping, it's because the dollar's strong, most likely because the Fed is raising rates, which means that people can get higher APYs at the bank. But as you can see here, like this was pretty much the worst part of the crypto market. And I showed this chart the other day, but it's really interesting. Whenever DXY falls, that's typically when we have massive bull runs in crypto. For example, all of 2017, we saw the DXY falling down. And then 2018, right at the bullest bull of the bull market, right at the peak of the bull market, DXY started to move up, and then we saw Bitcoin price fall down. You can also see that here, where March 2020, we started to see the DXY fall down up until like the end of 2022. And that was the bull run for Bitcoin, for crypto. Then when we went up, that's when the market fell. And now we're back at 100.8. That is pretty crazy, or 100.9. We fell down to 100.7. This is about the same spot that we saw some support a little while ago back in December of 2023. At the very bottom, we got to just under 100 back last year, like July of last year. So I would really like us to fall down, especially with rates coming down. I think this is likely to happen. And then we run into this mega bull run. Bitcoin dominance also very close possibly to peaking. I have been someone that's been very pro Bitcoin dominance this whole time. I'm 80% Bitcoin in my crypto portfolio. And even with Bitcoin dominance coming down, I don't think that necessarily means you have to sell your Bitcoin and rotate it. I think it depends on what your strategy is and how much money on the sidelines and capital and how much you bring in each month. I think it depends on a lot of that stuff, because Bitcoin still is the least risky option and it's still going to do well. It's probably going to 2x, maybe 3x this bull run. So that's still a fantastic return. It's got much more liquidity and much less stress, or you will have much less stress investing in that versus like altcoins. But I would not be surprised. We've seen this kind of trail off, like start to go sideways a little bit more. You can see like a curving to it. And I would not be surprised to see maybe the Fed change, like their change in rate cuts be kind of the turning point. And you can see, like I drew this line before we even hit this, saying this could be a area of resistance. That's exactly where we're at right now. Like we are hitting this resistance. It would make a lot of sense to me if we just kind of trend sideways for the next month until the Fed starts cutting rates, and then maybe dominance goes down. And I realize that I talk about Bitcoin a lot on the channel, but this is what happens every 4 years. So don't be mad about it. This is a good time to be making money, but it's still going to be a fun time for Bitcoin. You can see the Bitcoin spiral 4-year cycle. You can see this is 2023, 2024, 2025, 2026, and time goes around in a circle. This is the price of Bitcoin, this yellow line, and you can look at the legend here for a second, but basically, this is the recovery time. The rest of the year is considered recovery time. Then typically we start hitting all-time highs in this parabolic move, this parabolic run area, which is 2017, 2021, and 2025. So this is where you would expect us to have a parabolic run upwards. Now, where do we go? Hard to know. That's the question. But I've said many times before, my selling is going to be based more on time than on price. Now, of course, you always have to take into account price. I'm not going to be selling if we're in the parabolic move quadrant here. If we're at $50,000 Bitcoin, I don't think that's going to happen, but I'm not going to do that based on price, even if we're in the right quadrant. But this is really interesting. This is the fun part. And I realize, again, that people might be mad at me for saying that Bitcoin dominance is going to fall down or could fall down, is likely to fall down. But that's what happens. Dominance goes up, dominance goes down, dominance goes up, down, and it's cyclical. But, I mean, we're still talking about Bitcoin going up to, I don't know, 100, 120, 150,000, which if you bought towards the bottom, like that should be a very good return, right? That should be a 10x, an 8x, something like that. And if you're using something like leverage, you could get even more than that. Like just over the last couple weeks, I'm up 500% on a 20x from the like Pico bottom right here. You can see the line where I placed the trade. But yeah, that was a awesome time to dollar cost average, and I'm up 500% really when it's only up 20, 25%. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting time. Now, of course, the question is then, where do you put your money? Right? Bitcoin, I still think, is the safest place. It's the least stressful place. You're probably going to get really good returns from here. I actually have a video on my channel, the pinned video, when you go over there, that says, should I buy Bitcoin now or wait? But if you're like me, you only have so much money. So if you're looking to put more money into the market, where do you put it? Well, I want to hear your opinions on which cryptos you like the most. I will say my top 5 cryptos, I'll just go over them real briefly. Bitcoin, by far the biggest. Ethereum, second biggest. Now, I wish I would have bought more Solana instead of Ethereum because Solana's vastly outperformed. But Ethereum's been beaten down for a while, so I would not be surprised to see some kind of rally, something, right? Some kind of glimmer of hope on Ethereum, some kind of outperformance at some point. But of course, there has been that large Ethereum overhang with Grayscale. But that's my number 2. Then my number 3 is Solana. Of course, I would have loved to have more Solana. I want to add to Solana, but I haven't wanted to add and sell Bitcoin, or I haven't wanted to sell Ethereum either because it is down so much compared to Solana. Apologize for the dog too. Let me just close this door, and then we'll get into the next 2 largest, which are smaller cryptocurrencies. Okay, I'm not even gonna edit that out. We're just gonna keep that in. We're gonna do it live. Let me know if you want me to do longer videos on these cryptos, but my 4th largest is CoreDAO. CoreDAO is a Bitcoin-powered EVM compatible blockchain, introducing the first ever implementation of non-custodial Bitcoin staking. Now, we've seen some large companies actually stake, like publicly traded companies stake their Bitcoin through CoreDAO. So that's quite interesting. It's a multi-billion-dollar market cap. It's a $1 billion market cap, but then fully diluted is about 2.5. And then TARS AI is actually my 5th largest. This is an AI infrastructure protocol on Solana, backed by Solana. This is a much smaller market cap, just to be clear. Like, this is a riskier play, but you can see 16 million or 17 million right now, fully diluted 142 million. So a little bit riskier, but my Bitcoin position is by far my largest position. It's 80%, and then Ethereum's maybe 10%, Solana's 4-5%, and then everything else is smaller. But let me know your thoughts. Let me know what cryptos you're investing heavily into right now. Let me know what you're buying right now. Let me know if you're leverage trading at all. There is a link underneath the video to Margix where you can start leverage trading in just a few minutes. You can get set up. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. Check out the links again to Cade and to Limit Express underneath the video as well. And I'll see you in the next one. Let me know what you think about Jerome Powell too. I do think, I should have hit on this before I did the whole outro, I do think this is a massive change. Like, this is a turning point, maybe not necessarily today, but it's pretty obvious that this was a very key update from Jerome Powell, basically saying we are cutting, but especially when they actually cut, when everyone realizes, okay, hey, interest rates are coming down. If I go try to get a mortgage, it's cheaper, right? If I want to go deposit some money at the bank, I'm not getting quite as much. That is going to take effect for the general public, and that's when people are going to notice it. Institutions and investors are going to notice it ahead of time. They already know that that's on the horizon, but it will be fascinating to see what happens moving forward. I think this is going to be a very good rest of the year and next year. But of course, there's going to be volatility. Be ready for anything. Someone asked me during the live stream, do we have any large overhangs right now? Like, are there any black swans? And honestly, you never know a black swan's coming. That's why it's a black swan instead of just like, I don't know, some bad news that's on the horizon that you know about. Black swans are so bad because no one sees them coming. I think there are always chances for black swans, right? That's the whole point of them. But I don't see anything visible that should necessarily be bad for crypto. Even if we went into recession, and I talked with Rob on yesterday's video about this, even if we went into recession, as long as it wasn't a very deep recession, the Fed will probably try to print their way out of it. They'll try to make just conditions a lot better. They'll try to increase liquidity, which is really good for risk on assets. And this is more of an institutional driven market, it seems like right now, than retail. Large whales are pushing around the prices along with institutions. They're not going to have a tough time getting money into the market if we face a shallow recession, right? They're going to look at M2, they're going to look at the DXY, they're going to look at risk to return ratios, and they're going to want to buy up dips, in my opinion. Let me know your thoughts, though. Of course, there's going to be manipulation. There are going to be whale games, so be ready for anything. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I'll see you all in the next one.